vital issue. Talking about the appointment, I'm talking about the new appointment of the service chiefs by the president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. And we are right here at the same newsstand to get the views of our viewers on trending issues. There is an issue going on presently on Gani Adams and Sunday Igboho, which we would like our reviewers to talk about. All right. Gani Adams made a statement, and what did he say? He said the OPC, that's the Odua People's Congress, started the struggle that Sunday Igboho is embarking on right now, and that is not meant to be given that applaud. All right, we have Femi here, we have Mr. Matthew, Ayodeji, Elijah, and they are ready to give their own take on this. And let's quickly meet Mr. Femi, you're welcome.
Good afternoon.
All right, good afternoon. You're welcome to the second phase of Bystanders at Newsstand. Of course, here in the morning. I will discuss about the new appointment of the service chiefs.
Okay.
The old ones have been sacked.
Okay.
Of course, Nigerians have been clamoring for their sack, and which the president kept mum about for some times, and at the end of the day, he bowed the pressure. Now, what difference do you think these service chiefs will be making?
By God's grace, they will make some change by special grace of God, because everything in Nigeria now is now remain that you need to be backing it with prayer. You cannot rely on their intelligence. I don't know how intelligent they are, because this Atairu, or what is it called, the new chief of army staff. I was told the man was redeployed in 2017 while he was commander of Operation Lafia Dole, because they saw incompetency in him then. But I don't know how fast he has been able to acquire more knowledge and more skill. But every other, apart from chief of army staff, we still have chief of air force staff. We heard that one is a skillful person. You can ride, talk of any warplane, the guy can ride it. But I pray that God will help them, and there must be a change. There must be to not be singing the same song that we sing for those one that gone. They tried their best, but their best is not good for us. So this one that they just came with the help of Nigerians and with the help of God, I want to be optimistic that we are going to see changes in our security.
Okay, you're optimistic
Yes.
that you
Yes,
have a turnaround
at least
system.
we will see. It's not an easy task. Everywhere around the world where they are fighting terrorism, it has not been an easy task. But the only thing is that you can afford a bird to fly above your head. But for a bird to now make a nest upon your head, that is where there is problem. So you cannot say in the 21st century we are in a fast country like Nigeria, we have like 100% peace. That one I'm not sure is achievable. But to some extent we still have peace, that we will not be hearing bad news every year and there. You sleep, you hear bad news, you wake up, you hear bad news. There should be an improvement.
Now let's quickly go to the top of the town presently. Gani Adams versus Sunday
Igboho. Igboho, sir.
Igboho, sir. Why do you call Igboho, sir?
Hey, the man is dating now. Well, Igboho, even before this one, they have been calling Igboho, sir. Since when I was toddler, I've been hearing about Sunday Igboho, Sunday Igboho. I don't know that the man will still be looking young like that. I thought he would be like maybe around 60 or something, because it has been long when I've been hearing Sunday Igboho, Sunday Igboho. I don't know that he will still look calm, still look young like that. Thank God for his life. He's sir. Now, coming to Gani Adams.
Yeah, he said he started the struggle. That's the OPC started the struggle.
What struggle? What struggle did this start? And in fact, the thing is funny to me when I hear that he said we started the struggle. Now that the man wanted to be reaping where it's not so.
Yeah.
What's meaning of that? What are you sowing? What are you reaping? You are sowing what? You are reaping what? I don't know what Gani Adams is sowing. You are doing your own the way you believe you're supposed to do it. And another person came in, so because you have been doing OPC, nobody else will come to our rescue. You are doing OPC, Fulani S-men, they were here, fucking our wife, plundering our farm, killing people, kidnapping and collecting ransom, and there is nothing cogent. We have been seen being done by OPC, and somebody else rise. And I see it's not matter of somebody talking. I want to talk today. I respond to them. No. You see, action.
Proactiveness.
Let me tell you, if Gani Adams want to this battle want to start, he cannot win it because this Sunday Igboho is unifying every Nigeria. Apart from Aboki, Sunday Igboho is unifying Yoruba and Igbo. Everybody want to be associated with us now. Everybody is proud of Igboho. So if you now see some bad element that they want to, those ones they will be put to shame. Nnamdi Kanu is proud of Igboho. Olusegun Obasanjo is proud of Igboho. Baba Alaafin, they are all proud of Igboho. So if anybody, you have done your own, you have done your best, but your best is not enough for us. And we see somebody that rise up and take everything as he wants, as he can do it, and we see what he can do.
So when you look at it historically, the title Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò, I think his major work is to secure the interest of the Yoruba race, to defend the Yoruba race. But it seems Gani Adams is not doing that.
He has not done his best. I've not seen what he has been doing. It's not the best. It's not what we actually need. He's doing it as a decorated lion in a decorated cage. He has not really acted. You see, when Sunday wanted to do his own, he bring camera. See, I tell you, Seriki Fulani so ń gbọ́ bọ́ọ̀tà mo fún ọ lọ́jọ́ méje. That is the action. That is the word. But this one, maybe some Fulani Arewa consultative forum, all those drugs on the paper that they usually back on the paper, they don't have any weight. They just talk. And you will see another, what do they call it? People Congress or whatever, responding to them without any action, no action. They just talk on paper, talk your own, make I talk my own. Now then they do what is this? So, but when we see somebody that do action, it's not about talk. It's not talk matter. So when you talk of the real, sometimes I've said it that when you see people go into particular field, they go with different motion. Some want to go there to actually perform. Some want to play to the gallery. So everybody has mission. When they even on the pitch, some want to play and score. Some want to dribble. Some play to gallery. Some are serious. So for me, Gani Adams started well, but along the line, he started derail. He started play to the gallery. Chieftaincy title. Somebody that I'm telling you, I don't know the chieftaincy title they give Sunday Igboho and why they are calling him chief. I don't know. That man, Sunday Igboho. I don't know when it was crowned, but what I mean is that it's not about carrying the chieftaincy title. I've not heard the man call himself I'm Akoni Odua. It's not all about what the man believes. The man believes in take action. It's not about chieftaincy title. What people will be calling you is what you are doing. It's not you that will be directing people to be calling you what you want. If you are doing like Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò, people will call you that this is our real Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò. It's not only me that say that. It's everybody see that, oh, this man is real our Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò because he's acting like one. And the one we have make Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò is not acting the way it's supposed to be acting. So there's nothing anybody can do about that one.
All right, thank you so much for your contribution. I really appreciate it. All right, you're welcome, Mr. Matthew.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mike.
Good afternoon. You were here in the morning.
Of course.
All right. We need to do it. All right.
Yes.
Now, when you look at the calls for service chiefs by Nigerians, I think Nigerians saw something before they realized that something was going to happen, which at the end of the day, we all saw it. It was so glaring to us. But don't you think, like I asked in the morning, and it's opening around now, don't you think the move by Sunday Igboho, expedited the president's move to appointing new service chiefs?
Mr. Mike, looking at the appointment of the new service chiefs, vis-a-vis the union of Nigerians, I think it's a welcome development. Because we have been saying it here, that you cannot continue doing the same thing and over and expect a different result. Quite agreed. Almost all the service chiefs appointed now were part of either successes or failures of the previous team. Because I can understand that Lieutenant General Leo Irabo who is now the Chief of Defence Staff, was the theater commander of the Operation Lafia Dole up to 2017.
Okay.
And again, I think under him, there was success by Nigerian army against insurgency, tremendous success. Even this the head, and when you are playing as a subordinate of a team. That is why I will like you to cast your mind back to Nigerian presidency. When the vice president had sway in having capacity as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we have seen him take some drastic decisions that even Mr. President may not have taken. I may cite one or two. In the build-up of that crisis we saw where DSS were deployed to National Assembly, we saw how he rose to the occasion. I think Mr. President would have handled it differently. Then again, look at this lingering issue of Nigerian police personnel who were killed in their legitimate line of duty in Taraba State. As we speak, even as a panel constituted by Chief of Defence Staff and by the order of the presidency have indicted a captain and 9 other military personnel, Mr. President has not deemed fit to ensure that they are being brought to justice. And I have a feeling, I may be wrong, that if our president is holding sway as in the capacity of Mr. President, he may have taken a decision that is different from the way Mr. President is handling it. So it's on that basis I'm saying that even when you are a part of a team that recorded either success or failure, it's a different ball game where you are now the head, you are now giving direction, you are now the one leading the course. On that basis, I have a strong belief that with that tenacity with which especially that Irabo handled that insurgency under his watch as theater commander of Operation Lafia Dole, that he's going to bring more experience to bear to fight against insurgency. Don't forget that he was deployed to head the multinational joint task force. It was from there he have now been made the Chief of Defence Staff. Having said that, looking at the correlation between Mr. President's action and the action of Sunday Igboho, I think it's coincidence, because I've tried to understand this Mr. President by his antecedents. He's somebody that have developed. He's somebody that always want to do his things his own way. I think he's somebody that purely and solely rely on intelligence being given to him by his lieutenants in the field. So on that basis, I don't think there's any correlation between what happened in the southwest and the sacking of the service chiefs. And again, like we discussed in the morning, you see that this issue of Fulani herdsmen, it cut across every strata of the society. And again, what is the contention? Look at areas where you have arable land. It is not by coincidence that you see more of the activities and conflict in Benue State, because Benue has more arable land in Nigeria more than any other place. No wonder they are called the basket of the nation. Then again, look at Ondo State, look at Oyo State, look at the areas where there is contention. You see that it borders on land resources. So what we are saying is there should be extant laws that will be enforced by the relevant security agencies to ensure that they put this Fulani on check. It's on record, Mr. Mike, that in 2010, even Ghanaian government mobilized in Ghanaian security agencies to chase away Fulani herdsmen out of their territories because they are a menace. And you will have observed that when they move, they have no respect for extant laws. They consider themselves into a government of its own, and they challenge any constituted authority. What we are saying is, even I've seen, thank God, from what we can see, they are already complying with the directive of Ondo State government by quitting the foreign reserve and coming forward to be registered. And again, you see the way and manner that Ondo State government directive was misquoted, was quoted out of context, was not ready. Because what the Ondo State government actually said was they should quit state government foreign reserve. Otherwise, not just quitting, they even created a window through which they can be profiled and be registered.
Legally.
So the unwarranted attack on that Ondo State government was unnecessary. Then again, I think going forward, we should look inward. I'm even talking based on what the tenacity with which Sunday Igboho have started.
Okay.
I think Amateku and every other security agencies should look on how to Fulani henchman who may be killing people. We have seen his boldness with which he confronted,
His impute.
how he gave them quick notice, and we have seen the boldness with which he confronted them. Then again, I think I should encourage every other state, whether the south, southeast, middle belt, even the northern part of the country, because recently the governor of Kano State have said that the only way to stop these clashes between herdsmen and host communities is to stop this mass exodus of Fulani herdsmen from neighboring African countries.
Now,
So,
Mr. Mati, let me bring you back to the northern side and the appointment of the service chiefs. Now, with the rate of incessant killings in the north, banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, now, how do you think these service chiefs would work, and what advice would you give them in averting crime or bringing it down to the lowest level?
one, the first advice is synergy. There should be a symbiotic relationship. They should synergize. I'll tell you why I've said so.
Okay.
We have heard in this country where Nigerian Air Force went and bombed an IDP camp. What does that tell you? It tells you that there was a lack of synergy. Because if there was synergy, the relevant government agencies who established IDP camps would have kept Nigerian Air Force in notice that there is an IDP camp in that particular location. And as at the time the IDP camp was erroneously bombed by Nigerian Air Force, they claim that they have gotten intelligence. They got intelligence from a foreign partner, which is regrettable.
Okay.
Then again, another area is they should deploy technology. The world today depends on technology. They should partner with our known age foreign partners like America. And another area is they should ensure that they bring these experts to train and retrain our military personnel who are in the field. Another area is there are some critical equipment, war armament that we need that will give us edge over Boko Haram, especially these Tucano jets. I can understand that American government is reluctant to releasing it to Nigerian government, but I think most of those anxieties, most of those challenges that American government is seeing that we have, that is making them feel reluctant to allow us have it, I think if we address it, they will give it to us. So that is another. And again, most importantly, I think Nigerian government, to win the confidence of the international community, they should ensure that anytime any Nigerian security personnel, be it police, be it army, be it DSS, be it Navy, be it Air Force, any Nigerian security agency, anytime he's been accused, whether wrongly or rightly, of extrajudicial killing or violation of human rights, they should ensure that it is adequately and appropriately investigated. And where sanction is required, they should ensure that it is meted out appropriately to ensure that it acts as deterrent to other Nigerian security personnel.
All right, thank you so much. And let me quickly flash you back to the statement made by Tunde Bakari, as the latter rain pastor. That's December 28th or so. Yeah. He said, I think he compared Tinubu as the Jagaban and the leader of the Progressive Congress to Jephthah in the Bible. He compared it with him. Now, looking at this man of God, a minister of God, who is also aspiring to be the president of the country, and with his criticism he has made against Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and coming again, to applaud him and give him that kind of accolade, don't you think something is fishing?
Mr. Mike, I think I saw that news then, where he was trying to advise those who were critic of Ashwaji Bola Tinubu to stop, saying that they have not achieved as much as Tinubu have achieved. Then again, I don't know for the reason for which you have said that, but I think Bakare himself, being a servant of the living God, I don't think there's any other honor more than being a servant of God. For me, I do not have the right to ask him to stay on the job of a minister of God. But if I am to advise, I will ask him to stay out of politics and maintain that status as a servant of the living God. Because for me, it is the highest honor anybody can have. For God to look from heaven on mankind, out of the billion of personalities on earth, single you out, honor you, and say he should be preaching his word. I think he should stay on that job. But again, like I've said, he have right to Tinubu as a person. However I look at it, he's a big player in Nigerian politics. He's a big stakeholder. But again, he equally have his right to contest or whether or not to contest. But if you ask me as an individual, I would prefer that come 2023, let a youth take over the reign of leadership of this country. Because I don't know for the reason they say that youths are the leaders of tomorrow. A situation where the youth will wallow in waste. They will grow to the old age. They have not gotten the opportunity of even getting to the corridors of power. I think the youth should this time synergize that vigor, that tenacity with which they mobilize for that answers. I think they should deploy it to register in this coming 2023 election. And when that time comes, it should not be about PDP or APC. Let all the youth make sure that we should scrutinize every youth who is contesting. And whoever is more competent, irrespective of where the person hails from, are not concerned. Let the person be from the north, from the west, from the south, is not the issue. The issue is that let that person be a youth who is competent. Because I think we are tired of all these old politicians. I'm not saying they are not qualified to contest, but as a person, I think they should give you a chance.
When you look at that statement vividly, don't you think Tunde Bakari was raining this applause on him for his own political ambition?
Like I said earlier on, he was speaking within the ambits of the law. He was exercising his freedom of speech, which he actually have right to do. I cannot question his and how he may have chosen to exercise or express his freedom of speech.
Don't you see him as someone who is trying to lobby, to get a ticket from the APC?
Lobbying is a part of.
Tinubu is the leader of the party.
Lobbying is part of politics, but I think the events or the dynamics that will shape 2023 might shock Nigerians. It might be outside what we know. It might be outside the normal principles of Nigerian politics. Like they normally said that politics is matters of the many for the benefit of few. You saw the madness of Nigerian youth. I'm not trying to insult Nigerian youth, but I'm only trying to. In 2023, you see that the dynamic that may shape 2023 election may be different from all the known principles of book makers. Okay. So if that happens, you may discover that if the lives of all these big names you hear may be irrelevant, because the youth have the population, they have the energy. So if they can bring it to bear to synergize and make sure, and for me, I'm advocating it, irrespective of who else is God. I'm not against the candidature of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. I'm not against the candidature of interest of Tunde Bakari. But what I'm saying is, as a person, I prefer a youth to be there. That is my own take.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Matthew. And quickly to Mr. Ayodele Elijah. You're welcome.
It's a pleasure being here.
Good to
as
see
the
you.
first time on Bystanders.
Wow.
And in a very crucial time like this, I'm glad to be here. It's a pleasure to have here.
You're welcome, sir.
Thanks.
You're welcome, sir. We have diverse topics we'll be treating. We've been treating it before I called you on board. But before we move into the main business of today, let's look at what is currently causing controversy, Gani Adams and Sunday Igboho. And I know you've not been opportune to speak on this matter. It's still the state of the nation. Now, he said he started the struggle. And to be sincere with you, I think he played a major role during the MKO Abiola's June 12th election. Now, looking at the move by Sunday Igboho to avert crime, in Ibarapa or your state entirely, don't you think it was a great move? And if we have someone like Are Ona Kakanfo of Yoruba land that could not, rise up to the occasion and solve this raging issue, don't you think something is wrong?
Beyond parochialism, Sunday Igboho is fighting a just cause. And I see no reason why there should be no acknowledgement, support, and appraisal by the generalissimo of Yoruba land, the so-called Are Ona Kakanfo. Newly formed by the late Dr. Freddie Fashion, the Ondo-born medical doctor turned an activist. He appointed Gani Adams, the Are Ona Kakanfo of today, as a commander of the war of the Yoruba people, the Yoruba race. He has spent his own time and rose to fame. Your time has gone as a commander of the freedom fighter of the Yoruba race. A new breed is coming up in Sunday Igboho, who is also vast in fighting wars. Okay. If you go by the history of Modakeke Ife, you will know who Sunday Adeyemo is. You will know his antecedents in war. So for him to have been bold enough to stand up when the whole federal apparatus is securing the people of the country in entirety and zones has failed us. The Yoruba people at a germane time like this need a courageous man that will stand up for them, of which without any authority from the Yoruba people, he felt that we are betrayed by the security apparatus of the country, and he decided to fight the cause of the Yoruba nation. I see no reason whatsoever why the Are Ona Kakanfo should be against him in any form, in any way. I see no reason why any of the leader of any of Yoruba states should stand against Igboho, except if otherwise proven that they are not part of the banditry and the killings in Yoruba land. Except for that reason, they have no justified means or reason to go against Sunday Igboho. It's fighting a just cause. Because in other zones, the banditry are operating from one zone to the other. People over there were speaking against banditry, against kidnapping, against killings. And in our own land, if they extended to this place, we should rise to defend ourselves if the government can no longer defend us as when needed. So it's fighting a just cause. Sunday Igboho should just go on, and I think Gani Adams, if for any reason he wanted an adjustment from Sunday Igboho,
Sunday should have consulted him before carrying out any operation. Don't you think that should have been done?
He might not necessarily need. Sometimes ago in the studio, I was discussing about how military formation used to be when there's need for an attack. I mentioned blanket order. I took my time to explain to the moderator what blanket order means. The blanket order is all about the order given by the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic to the Chief of Army Staff to carry out any combat operation whenever it is needed. I think I discussed this during the NSAS issue in Lekki, where they carry out a sporadic shooting that kills some people, has been alleged. So, for a situation whereby the Fulani herdsmen or the banditry come to the southwest to kill people, to kidnap people and demand ransom for them, there might be no time for a proactive action to combat them. There must be no time to do consultation with people. The most important thing is for somebody who is capable to rise up to the task, to defend his people from being kidnapped, from being killed. Later, those protocols can be discussed. So I see no reason why that should be an issue between Are Ona Kakanfo and Sunday Igboho. If truly is Are Ona Kakanfo that stands for the defense of the Yoruba nation.
Looking at it historically, what is the major work of the Are Ona Kakanfo?
Like I mentioned earlier, Are Ona Kakanfo is just the generalissimo of Yoruba war. That is the leader and the coordinator who should lead in the war.
As a warlord.
Yeah, as a warlord,
A warrior.
a warrior in Yoruba nation. And that being in place, it doesn't mean that it can be in every places every time. There should be some leaders of troops in various zones in the Yoruba land who can rise to the task to defend their people. Whether they wait for an order from him or not, it depends on the urgency of the matter at hand that needed to be attended to. And if that is being done, he should call them behind the camera. If there's any error in their operation, he should tell them, not by condemning what they have done.
Now, after destroying the Seriki Fulani's house, Sunday Igboho, in return, based on his interview, he said, based on the interview granted, he said traitors, that Yoruba traitors were involved in the burning of his house. That Fulanis cannot just come from their own end and perpetrate that kind of evil.
I think I should be on the same page with Sunday Igboho on that statement. For him to have defended the cause of the Yoruba nation, and his house is being burned down in form of a reprisal attack, I am very positively minded that the so-called Fulani herdsmen or the banditry cannot just come without traitor, as I have said, to Sunday Igboho house to locate it and carry out that operation successfully without anybody being calling him, without anybody being standing or rising to that issue. So I believe there's more to it than being only the herdsmen or the banditry coming to burn down his house.
Now, away from that, the service chiefs, they have not spoken about that at all. Now, we have clamored for the sack of these service chiefs, which the president kept mum about for some years. But at the end of the day, I think due to the pressure, he bowed down, and did the needful. What should we expect from these service chiefs? And what difference do you think they will make this time around that their predecessors didn't even achieve?
I've said this several times, that the power of the president to hire and fire service chiefs is too sovereign for a country like Nigeria with diverse of crises, ethnically, religious-wise, coupled with insurgency, banditries, and other forms of criminality. But away from that, the president at the long run bowed to the pressure of the people. The structure by which these people operate, the structure by which they operate accommodates some sentiments, has some loopholes that gives power to some power brokers of the nation to limit their operations to their desires, not how constitutionally they were being saddled with. What's the meaning of that? A lot of big wigs in Nigeria at some point reduces the strength of these people in operations. But the new people that are coming to manage the affairs of the security architecture of Nigeria, they are men with experience at their various fields. Major General Lucky Rabo, the Delta Bond Finance Officer, has at some point between 2015 and 2017 served as the commander of Operation Lafia Dole in the northeast, and he recorded a huge success. This was the time about 17 local governments was recovered from Boko Haram in Borno State. This was the time that 7 local governments that was fully occupied by Boko Haram in Adamawa State was recovered from them. This was the time that the 2 local governments occupied by the Boko Haram insurgents in Yobe State was recovered and fully restored back to the people of Nigeria. He's coming with a vast experience. At some point, he also served as the commander of the Joint Multinational Task Force in Lake Chad Basin area, and he achieved a huge success. So with all this in place, I expected him to inject new ideas, new formation tactics, new ideas of combat to the operation. Like the chief of army staff, he also served, in fact, he took over from Lucky Rabo as the commander of his operation too was a very successful. People might cite the issue of his sack by the immediate past chief of army staff, Lieutenant General Tuko Yusuf Burate. That sack then was unjust. He gave him 40 days to bring Sekarau, the head of the Boko Haram, to him, dead or alive, which seems almost impossible as at that time. And when you could not bring him, and I think that was between June 2017 till November 21st, 2017, when about 50 people was killed in Oangu South area of Mubi, local government area of Adamawa State, during an early morning prayers. This was not enough reason to me as a man. But based on that, Tuko Brate sentimentally sacked the new chief of army staff. But thank God for God in heaven. With the experience of this man, coupled with the chief of defense staff and the chief of air staff, Air Vice Marshal Issa Kaoladayo Amao, the Osun-born finance officer, who was at a point the commander of air combat, who also operated in Operation Zaman Lafia Stroke Lafia Dole in Borno East. You know, in a sane client culture, if we are to win war against insurgency, most importantly, the ability and capability of the airmen is most needed to provide a backup for the troop that operates on the ground and to supply them with weapons and personnel needed. At the same time, most of the spies goes through the air, and in some areas that seems difficult to penetrate, air bombing strike will be needed. So with the experience of Issa Kaoladayo Amao as the new Air Vice Marshal and a man with vast experience in air combat is major areas of discipline, I'm expecting that in no distant time we should put into proper check activities of the banditry, the needless kidnapping and demands for ransom the shortest time, because some of the weapons needed to prosecute war against Boko Haram insurgency, with the weapons that are possession, we still need more. We must inject more into our armory. We must embark on massive training of our personnel so as to carry out a massive and aggressive attack against the insurgency. So with that in mind, victory is sure, but I want Nigerians to be more supportive and a bit patient with them, for them to put in place their strategies and modalities, which at the long run I believe is going to pay off.
Before we go, I would like us to look into Tunde Bakaru's statements that really caused so much talk in the society. He said Tinubu is a good politician, is that, and so much, he applauded Tinubu for his job well done in the political sphere of Nigeria. But when you look at it vividly, there is a man that has been aspiring to become the president of this nation, and so many times, he failed. Now, don't you think, as a pastor, he should go back and relax? Or does quite all right, he has the right to contest, he has the right to do that, but in a normal sense, don't you think, as a pastor, he needs to sit down and let the ones capable of doing it, take over?
Mr. Mai, except for Nigeria, is politics a profession? It is not. People from different fields of operations come into the political field to see how best they can contribute to the governance system of their country. Either from medical line, from pastoral line, from engineering, or name it all. It does not really matter. But as for the statement of Tunde Bakare, I think it was made on the 28th of December 2020 about Tinubu. He has the freedom of right to speak or to voice out his opinion as a man. And may I ask, before I go further, is politics made for the devil if people that believe in God cannot be part of leadership? Wrong for a man of Bakare's status and stature to speak about the country, to speak about individual personalities based on what they have done, either to a particular zone, a state, or the nation at large. Looking, if that sermon is about an hour plus, most of the people reacting to it, have they taken their time to look at the sermon from beginning to the end, to digest it and come out with their own opinion? I doubt. But all in all, Tinubu, as a man, he has done enough in Yoruba land as far as politics is concerned.
Okay.
Don't forget, he has his shortcomings as human being. That does not mean it's perfect. But to a large extent, he has raised many people from the dungeon to the echelon politically. He has made a lot of people, and he has his foot soldiers that were nobody before. He made them in places across Nigeria, across Southwest. So if it's been praised by somebody, I think you are free to bring out your criticism constructively and bring a diverse opinion about him.
But this is a person who used to criticize.
Yes, of course. Bakare is not Tinubu critics. He criticizes people whenever he felt that they have not done enough. Not really when they have not done anything at all. And when you do something that he praises, you should as well be commended for it. So there's nothing bad in that to me, as far as I'm concerned. If you see somebody doing what is wrong, criticize him constructively. If they do what you think is right, I give them an appraiser. That's what makes a man.
So should we expect someone like Tinubu to contest come 2023?
2023 is still far from now. The politicking might have started underground, but he has not really come out to say, oh, he wants to contest. But if peradventure tomorrow he says, oh, I'm interested in throwing my heart into the ring, he's qualified as a citizen of the country, is competent politically, either by I think Tinubu is qualified and competent.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ayodele Elijah. I really appreciate you for coming on board.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks to Fliptv and thanks to the viewers outside there.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. All right, Chigozie, how are you doing?
Fine. Good day, Mr. Mike.
You're welcome.
Yes, and the man behind the camera.
You're just coming, right?
Yes, it has not been easy for me to find my way down here. So I thank God for the opportunity.
Thank God for the opportunity. You sent a voice note to me. That was yesterday. On I think Sunday Igboho, right?
Okay.
The way his house was, burnt down and everything.
Dressed down.
Yeah. So, so how do you feel about it? Being a person that has been standing to fight for the Yoruba freedom and to fight injustice in the country. How do you feel about it? And looking at it again, he's kind of a friend to your brother, Nnamdi Kanu.
I never know that. I've not tried to establish
But
whether
somehow they are fighting the same cause.
Well,
Somehow, partially.
I may want to disagree with you and agree to some extent. Why? Because I've come to understand what Mazen Nnamdi actually represents. I've come in terms with his ideology and ideals. So, and over time, he has been tried and tested. He has been consistent, objective. You can see how he carries almost the entire world along, sensitizing the entire world. You can see that people are gaining more political awareness, creating more political awareness, and as far as your own rights as a citizen is concerned, and the deprivations and how to overcome the hurdles, our common enemies. So I think, it's quite a pity that his house was raised down. But how could would have allowed that? A warrior defense line. So when you are confronting an enemy, you have to make sure that your defense line is intact.
Well fortified.
Yes, it's intact and it's built up. It shows that his defense, if they can invade and raise down his house, it means that he still has much work to do. He's just still fighting alone. And you cannot win that battle standing alone. You must have people at your defense line backing you up. And I didn't see that maybe you have to do much work down the grassroots. Unlike Nnamdi Kanu, he started from the grassroots, from the people you could regard as common men. He could able to sell his ideas, ideologies, and they understood what he represents. That he's truly fighting for the people. And he really stood for the people and was willing to pay the ultimate price, even if that becomes necessary. So I'm in great love with Nnamdi Kanu, not because of his name, because of the ideology he shares. You can see the level of love and passion he's giving out to not just his own people, and to every lover of peace. He wants to carry the Hausas along, sensitize them, the Yorubas along, the Kanuris along, on the present happenings within the contraction called Nigeria. And all boils down to the freedom for all. He's not just fighting for his own people, but he's making sure that everyone is liberated. And that is what Africa needs. You can see how the Prime Minister of Germany was celebrated, a woman. You see? And you can see how our politicians, we have useless politicians, male folks, who has no value, have not created any value for the people. Look at how, Merkel was celebrated. For 6 minutes, there was a clapping ovation in her honor. They said she served for about 18 years without being indicted on any corruption cases. He led the Germans in Europe. The woman led out legacies and policies that better the lots of the Germans. And when he decided to exit, they were so overwhelmed with the level of calmness, with the level of simplicity, with the level of dedication to service to her own people, to her own country. Do you see that happening, replicating in any African state? For good 18 years, you didn't buy a private jet for yourself. For good 18 years, you didn't add up your relatives among the government beneficiaries, like the Jagaban of Lagos. You see, he surrounded himself with his family, the Alaja. Any person, wherever the money is coming from, you just fix your people. This is a woman that stood for her people, a selfless service. I saw that and I wept for my country. I wept for Africa as a whole. When are we to get it right? When will we rise to that consciousness? Politics is about the service to the people, making life better for your own people. Look at how she celebrated a woman of great honor. I wish she will have opportunity to govern the Nigerian state.
You are one of the Nigerians that called for the sack of service chiefs, and presently we have new ones on board, and I know you are happy about the development.
Well,
because I could remember on daily basis you will come here and shout and shout and shout. The president, sack these people and come up with new ones, fresh ideas. Here we are with new service chiefs. What do you expect from them? And in the areas where we have incessant killings, we have banditry, we have kidnapping, and all sorts of insurgency or insecurity challenges going on there, what should they do?
Thank you very much. To be honest, frank with you, I'm not happy with the development.
Wow.
Why? The reason is because why should you leave critical issues untouched until disaster looms? Why should you be reactive? Why not being responsive? Proactiveness is an advantage. You can't procrastinate. Putting off issues, that should be tackled at this point to remedy the situation, not until everything is overwhelmed. People lives are lost as a result of insensitivity, as a result of incompetence on the part of the government, on the part of the executive and the legislatures. So that doesn't make any impression to me. It is not a welcome news. That notwithstanding, I understood. I want to congratulate the new service chiefs and on board. Of course, it is one of the aspirations of a public service to get to the pinnacle of his or her career. So I may want to congratulate them on that basis. And also, they shouldn't be lost in the euphoria of those excitement. Why? Because there are enormous responsibility, you see, that they need to shoulder. Considering the myriads of problems bedeviling the Nigerian state as it is now. So it is not a time to go and relax and be throwing party. I'm talking to the service chief, the new appointed service chiefs. So they have to up their games. And why? Because one, there are enormous tax at their shoulder. They must restore the confidence of the people. You see, they must restore the public reputation of the armies, of the security forces. They have lost their public reputation. They have lost the confidence of the people in military. The Nigerians populace could no longer trust the military. They could no longer believe the military. You see, the military has been bastardized, infiltrated, and politicized. So they have enormous work. I felt very sorry for them if really they really understand the enormous responsibility they are to saddle. And they are expected to deliver. It is not time to give excuses. Look at the level of corruption that have almost, destroyed the fabrics of the Nigerian military, whether the Air Force or the Navy or whatever. They could no longer be trusted. Look at most of the allowances of the combatant men are down and iron out. And there must be a political will to address such things. They must show a level of willingness, patriotism in the service of the people, not just the people who appointed them. If they want to serve the interests of the executive that appointed them, they are not just going to fail Nigeria, they are going to fail humanity. They are going to fail their generation. So they should stand out to be celebrated. As I'm talking about the Merkel, the Prime Minister of Germany. I mean, history will not forget that woman. So if they have the ample opportunity to rewrite their history in the sand of time. So I wish I have that opportunity to serve my country, not just my country. Humanity. I will be at my best, irrespective of whatever may be the criticism coming. Of course, people might misunderstand them, but for them, it is a high tax before them. What defines their tomorrow is how they are able to manage this thing, this opportunity given to them. It will be either to their own credit or discredit. But the opportunity is now to act.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Chibuze. I really appreciate you. On this note, we say goodbye to you on today's edition of Bystanders. Join us next time on the same platform. I still remain Michael Adekunle. Behind the camera is Michael Ojo. You can subscribe to the sister channel of Fliptv Plus. You can also subscribe to Fliptv. And join me on Facebook, Michael Temitayo Adekunle, Michael Michael Temitayo Adekunle. Special appreciation to the CEO of Fliptv, Abiodun Kukoloye, for bringing this on board. Really appreciate you. The viewers and reviewers across the globe, thank you so much. Bye, everyone.